Hear ye, hear ye. Today is Thursday, August the 15th, 2024. The time is 7 o'clock p.m., and we call this regularly scheduled council meeting to order. The invocation tonight will be led by our own city manager, Mr. Henry Rowland, and the American Pledge will be led by Councilman Kiko Moore, and the Texas Pledge led by Richard Garvey, Councilman Richard Garvey.
Okay, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to serve this great community. We ask all your blessings on this meeting. We ask that you guide our decisions and your blessings on this community. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Richard. And Chief.
Recite the Texas flag pledge.
We forgot to tell the chief.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, guys.
So loud.
All right. So our first presentation is the Humane Annual Department presentation from the Humane Officer. Hello, Autumn. How are you?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Good. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank y'all for 5 minutes. Oh boy. You know, when I get started talking about the shelter, it kind of goes on. Okay, so we'll get right started in with the numbers. So as you can see here, our daily average occupancy is, we're full all the time. So the number of dog kennels we have is 56. And as you can see, almost every single month so far this year, we've had over 56 animals on average each day, meaning we have more dogs than we have kennels. And it's the same with the cats. The way we deal with this is we will use temporary kennels. We will foster animals. And then sometimes there are litters. So we'll have multiple animals in one kennel. So it'll show more animals than what we have kennels available. That goes with litters or bonded pairs. Our intakes, as you can see, the number of dog intakes has declined since 2021. We are constantly full with the dogs. And if you guys watch our Facebook page or Talk of Alvin or any other pages where people talk about, rehoming animals and whatnot, we're full. We're constantly struggling to keep up. However, we have been able to keep up with the strays. It's just the owner surrenders. What we're able to accommodate, it kind of fluctuates based on the space that we have. So the overall number of dogs that we've been able to intake over the past several years, it's been slowly declining just because we're always running at capacity. The cats, however, other than 2022, we've remained pretty consistent in the number of cats we've been able to accept. I don't have a lot to say about the adoptions. We're thrilled that our adoptions have been remaining. We've had people coming in to adopt regularly. We have not seen a decline in adoptions. I think that's phenomenal considering all the animals that people are looking to rehome and that they're finding and whatnot. Our adoptions are staying pretty constant, so we are really happy with that. So as far as the number of animals returned to their owners, the dogs are always they're always returned at a higher rate than the cats. However, I'm excited to see that our projected number this year, we're hoping about 48 cats are reunited with their families. And I got that number by doing the January 1st through June 30, the last day in June. And I just doubled it. So far this year, we've already returned more cats in the first half of this year than what we did all of last year. So whether that's because of the microchipping ordinance or not, I don't know the answer to that, but we're hopeful that that is a trend that continues to increase. Now, these are the numbers that are really upsetting. The number of animals that were able to get out to rescue groups. That was the 5-minute mark. So the number of animals that were able to get out to rescue groups has just declined. We've kind of taken a nosedive. It's not for lack of trying. We reach out to rescue groups in different states, mostly up north, but they're in the same boat that we are. A lot of the shelters and rescue groups that I'm reaching out to, they're overflowing. They're just hitting the same obstacles that we are. A lot of animals being bred, and maybe not purposefully, but not spaying and neutering like they should. So there's just an overpopulation of animals. Okay, I do want to thank you guys for passing the spay-neuter ordinance in November of last year. I know that we haven't seen the benefits of that yet, probably, but I think over the next few years we're going to see a decrease in the number of animals that are being brought to us. I think it's going to take time, of course, but I do think it's going to pay off. We've had a lot of positive feedback. The negative feedback are the ones that have animals that really need to be spayed and neutered. So really the ordinance is doing what we had hoped it would do. Now, obviously there are costs associated with people getting their animals spayed and neutered. So we do have a program. It's actually coordinated and completely paid for by Jenny's Rescue Ranch. We work closely with them. So far this year, we've done over 550 free spay and neuters for animals that are owned. This summer, we've done over 200 of those at our shelter. Every Monday, we have a bus coming in. They're doing surgeries for free for the pets that have owners, and that includes microchipping, vaccinations, flea prevention. So it's a really good program. I'm hoping that the funds keep coming in for that. Obviously, that's separate than the city, but we are working with Jenny's Rescue Ranch to make that happen. And hopefully people keep donating to that program because it's wonderful and people are taking advantage of it. Okay, just a couple of the events that we did last year. Woofstock at National Oak Park. It was super fun. We're going to do it again this year. It'll be October 19th. We have a band already booked. It's Trey from the Fae. If y'all saw him on American Idol, him and his band, now I can't remember the name of the band, but they're going to be there. We are going to have a lot of entertainment, dog show, like obstacle type course. Like, it's going to be a lot of fun. A new one that we did earlier this year was Petals for Paws. It was a plant sale, so all the plants were donated, and then we were able to sell those for donations to raise money for the shelter. And that was a really fun event. I look forward to doing that one again. And then we do photo op fundraisers. We have a background, and people can bring their animals in for photos, and they can make a donation if they want to. They don't have to. It's just nice to see people and their pets. A lot of previous Alvin Animal Adoption Center pets are brought in by their adopters so that we can see them, and they get a holiday photo. And then another fundraiser that we did was a book signing with an author that is right here from Alvin. Her name is Peggy Sundberg, and it was a neat event. It didn't bring in a ton of people, but it did bring in some, and the young readers were pretty thrilled to meet an author. And then if you've been to the shelter recently, you'll see this beautiful mural that is in our lobby area. It's nice and welcoming. It was done by the Alvin High School Art Department. The instructors, Karen Little and Misty Hart, and some of their students came in, volunteered their time and their talent, and it turned out really awesome. It's pretty neat. We really do appreciate y'all's continued support. You have always been great to us. We completely appreciate it. And I have to especially thank Mr. Castro for adopting one of our dogs not long ago and really putting his money where his mouth is and supporting the shelter. It's pretty cool. So, do you guys have any questions for me?
You know, I do. It's. Have you ever seen those like attack dogs that go after the guys with the big foam suits on?
Mm-hmm.
I would pay good money to have Joel in one of those suits.
You'd make a
fundraiser?
substantial donation to the shelter. I can arrange that. You know, Scott Green has our back. He's got one of those dogs.
Every year that has 30 or 40 dogs, we always need volunteers in the city.
I would pay good
I'll
money
do it
for
if you
that.
do it.
I mean,
That's right.
so Joel has a big mouth. How much money did he actually put? Was it big money?
Maybe big money would be good.
My question was just Joel related to if you had a picture of him with his dog. What's the dog's name? What kind of dog?
Sinatra?
Is it? Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
What kind of dog is it? Do you know?
He's I did a DNA test. It's a dog breed called Shepsky. He's a German Shepherd and Siberian Husky mix.
Oh, well, that's
He's
cool.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Solid black with these like bright blue eyes. Just beautiful.
Very
Good
cool.
dog. Yep.
Cute.
It's me.
No.
Who rescued who?
That's what we like to say.
Autumn, thank you so much. You do
Thank you.
amazing work.
Thanks,
We're so
guys.
thankful to have you on our team. Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, next is public comment. Mr. Berkey, good luck following that.
I got a dog I need to. I just want to give you an update on some upcoming events at the senior center. Of course, on the 21st, we have Coffee with Cops. Come over and join us there. Last time I think we hosted, we had right about 50. Oh, I'm sorry. We'd like to at least meet that much. And then on the 22nd, probably the most fun event we have all year is going to be Seniors Got Talent. And it's pretty interesting. Two of our judges are with us right here. So if you can, come on. It starts at 10 o'clock. Just poke your head in or stay the whole time. It usually lasts about 2 hours, but it'll be a lot of fun. And one thing for the museum, of course, we got Fiesta coming up, Hispanic Heritage Fiesta on the 7th. Folkloric dancers will start at noon. Get there early if you want to see it, because that's usually gets crowded pretty quickly. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have a public hearing to receive comment on the proposed annexation of approximately 107.1041 acres located near the intersection of County Road 149 and County Road 529 in Missouri County, Texas. So, at 7:16 p.m., we will open up for public comment. If you would like to come forward and speak about the proposed annexation, it is your time. Robin? No? Mr. Batty? No? Okay. Well, in that case, if no one's coming up, going once, going twice, we are closed at 7:17 p.m. Okay? Next, we have the consent agenda. Councilman Garvey, anything you'd like to remove from the consent agenda? I'm sorry, what are we doing? Oh, there's a second public hearing. My mistake. Public hearing to receive comment on the proposed fiscal year 2024-25 annual budget. Opening up at 7:17 p.m. Anyone like to come forward to hear their voice heard regarding the proposed fiscal year 2024-2025 annual budget? Please come forward now. Mr. Batty? No? Okay. Robin Moore? No? Mr. Berkey? No? Well, No one else? Close at 7:18 p.m. Sorry I called you guys out. I'm just trying to drag along the time so the minutes change. Consent agenda. Richard, do you have anything you'd like to pull from consent agenda?
No, Mayor.
No, Mayor.
No, sir.
Entertain a motion.
Mayor, move to approve consent agenda.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously. Items on the consent agenda are the August 1st, 2024 budget workshop meeting minutes, August 1st, 2024 city council meeting minutes, and August 6th, 2024 budget workshop meeting minutes. That's it.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you, Dixie. Moving on to other business. Item A, discuss and take record vote to propose an ad valorem tax rate of 0.685 cents per $100 of assessed valuation for tax year 2024, which is our fiscal year October 1st of 24 to September 30th of 2025, which exceeds the no new revenue rate and is the same as the city's current ad valorem tax rate, to be considered for adoption at a future meeting.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Getting to that point of the year where you're going to get sick and tired of seeing me, but got to come up here for all the good red tape that goes along with all the ordinances and things that the state has provided for us. Tonight, we're getting you to propose a tax rate for us. This is in part of Chapter 2606. The county assessor has to put out a notification of the meeting and has to place in that notification how everyone voted and what the dollar, or what the tax cents amount for the dollars was. So tonight, we're just getting you to get a preliminary value that we want to put out there. Most of the cities will usually go right below the voter approval rate as far as what they want to propose, and then come down off of that. However, Andrew and I have been working diligently with the tax assessor office, and we've kind of come up with a better number that we can use that we think is going to get us through the next fiscal year of the same rate of 68.5 per 100. And we would like for you to consider that tonight.
Are there any questions? Entertain a mo-
To propose an ad valorem tax rate of 0.68500 per $100 of assessed valuation for tax year 2024 to be considered for adoption at a future meeting.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, thank you. Next, consider setting one public hearing concerning the proposed tax rate for Thursday, September 5th, 2024 at 7 o'clock p.m. in the City Council Chambers, City Hall, 216 West Sealy, Alvin, Texas.
Once again, we're back to Chapter 26. Used to be a lot worse. You used to have 2 public hearing meetings back in the day, but when Senate Bill 2 came around, they said 1 was good enough. A piece of that Chapter 26 says that you can't have this public hearing greater than 7 days before you actually vote on the actual tax rate. So most cities generally just put it on the exact same night that you're voting for the tax rate. You do the public hearing first, people can have their comments, and then you go ahead and vote on it afterwards. Otherwise, you have to call a special meeting in most cases, unless you're a town that does every week meetings or you want to have a special meeting. That's why we're asking tonight that you set that for September 5th, when we will do budget and tax ordinances and have the hearing to go along with it.
Sounds good. Any questions?
Mayor, I move to set a public hearing concerning the proposed tax rate for Thursday, September 5th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the City Council Chambers, City Hall, 216 West Sealy, Alvin, Texas.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we will consider ordinance 24U, amending Chapter 28 Comprehensive Fee Ordinance of the City of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Alvin, Texas, for the purpose of revising certain water and wastewater fees for residential and commercial customers, providing for a 10% penalty for late payment, providing for an effective month of October billing cycles for the fiscal year 2024-25, and setting forth other provisions related thereto.
And filling in for Amy tonight. As you may recall, in the workshop, we talked about moving around some of the larger dollars on some of the capital improvement projects so that we won't need a double-digit increase this year as we had planned previously. So we're going with the 5% this year. Once again, when we were dealing with the numbers, that was the number that kind of made everything work. Much better than 12% to all of our citizens, I think. Mostly everything else is staying the same except for the 5% increase, so there's no new surprises or changes.
Are there any questions? Entertain a motion.
Mayor, move to approve ordinance 24U, amending chapter 28, comprehensive fee ordinance of the the Code of Ordinances of the City of Alvin for the purpose of revising certain water and wastewater fees for residential and commercial customers, providing for a 10% penalty for late payment, providing for an effective date on the October 2024 billing cycles for fiscal year 2024-2025, and setting forth other provisions related thereto.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. Thank you, Chris. I think Dan's might be jealous you got more FaceTime than he did tonight. All right, moving on. Considering ordinance 24V, releasing land from the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city of Alvin, providing findings of fact, containing a severability clause, and providing for other matters related thereto. Hey,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We received a petition from the owner of approximately 2 acres of land out in Damon, Texas. And I have this map for you so that you can see where this is. In your packet, you also have the plat, or not the plat, but the, what's it called? The map that shows just what of the survey of the 2 acres that this property owner purchased. This is the second release from the ETJ that we've received. The last one was for that piece of property that's located along 1462 on this side of 288. In our meeting this week with the mayor, we talked about kind of what's been on my plate, for those of you that know, for the last 8 years, trying to figure out what to do with our city limit lines, with all of this ETJ, especially when you're talking about this far out from anything that Alvin is going to intend to do. It's still on my plate. It's still up there. So at this point, and essentially what happened with this is that they platted the property, and then it doesn't, wait, hang on. You told me we were talking with Michelle. They subdivided it by meets and bounds. But it didn't fall under any of our exceptions to platting. So they would have had to plat in accordance with our subdivision ordinance. And so they decided to withdraw from the ETJ. As you know from our last discussions, the law does not provide any basis for not agreeing to the release. Some of you may know that I believe that other cities might be fighting that. It is not a class action lawsuit as far as I know. I think it's just one particular instance that I think there might be a lawsuit pending. So at this point, I would recommend releasing the ETJ, especially for this part of town, and also for just council to be aware that we are trying to ultimately figure out what is the best way to handle our ETJ, handle the city limit line without waiving or giving up any potential rights or messing with anything that future councils of the city want to be able to do. So there's a couple things, long-term plans that we can look at, that we don't have the option of just, we can, but the legislature has made it pretty difficult for cities to go out and just annex. And so mostly we are limited by petitions. That's the easiest way to do it when the landowner wants to come into the city. So I say that to let you know that it's the fact that we've got this out there, who knows, there might be others coming. But one of the things that we did discuss, and I haven't had a chance to talk with Michelle about it yet, was it might be an easy way to start on the Brazoria Fort Bend County line. as far as not necessarily requiring a survey. The problem with a lot of where the city limit lines go, the boundaries are some roads, are some whatever, but a lot of that's gonna need to be, potentially need to be surveyed. And that's been the holdup, not the holdup, but that's one of the issues. And one of the things that we talked about the other day was perhaps shrinking the city limit lines, or the width of the city limits that goes on the border with Fortbend County and Brazoria County, if we decreased it to a foot and then released the ETJ. It doesn't make sense, it makes more sense to me to do one thing, and if we did it in segments like that, it might also be a little bit more, palpable, I'll say, with respect to, you know, how best to do it. So those are the things that I'm looking at that are still on the plate, they're not on back burner. It might seem like it because we don't talk about it here very often. But Martin, I know you had some current concerns. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm kind of going off the agenda a little bit just by virtue of what's involved in here. So I'm happy to answer any questions. But for this, for this purpose, I recommend that we go ahead and release this ETJ.
I'm gonna ask why.
I basically, and we heard that long explanation, but I'm gonna ask why. Why would somebody come to us and say, release other ETJ? And there's a reason that, and I kind of toyed with this, is why, giving my explanation as why we shouldn't approve this. And I'm still gonna say it so the rest of the council members can hear
Sure.
my rant about this, but the question is why? Did we reach out to them? I understand what the very first one that we voted on, why that developer wanted to be outside the city, because he just flat out just didn't like the stuff that we had, our ordinances, and he wanted to circumvent the system, and he did. And so, or it's outside of our ATJ, but what, this customer that we potentially have, what is the reason?
Okay, so I can actually tell you we do have a reason. In fact, whenever I get anything like this, I make sure that Michelle either knows about it, has seen it, has been involved in it. And what happened on this piece of property is the owner, Miss Orlando, contacted Michelle, probably back, let's say, at the beginning of July. She had been in contact with Brazoria County about this property, and they told, Brazoria County said, it's Alvin ETJ. Told her that, in essence, that they would have to follow us and plat the property. And that's kind of where the discussion ended with that, kind of explained to her what the process was, why she was referred to us from the county, and then the next thing we got was the petition.
Okay, so that leads into my next question is our plating requirement, I know that our plating requirements can be a little bit more restrictive than the county.
Yes.
Why wouldn't we give the option of foregoing our plating requirements, because this is so far out there, and and then only a little snippet of that little property that we looked at on the survey is within Brazoria County, just basically come to here requesting a variance to forego that plating requirement and follow the county's subdivision requirements for subdividing a piece of property.
I'm gonna, oh, no, okay.
But
Okay.
now I'm gonna get into my little.
Well, can I answer that piece first?
that's fine.
Because that's part of it. So, whenever we had the first meeting with Brazoria County, that was what I thought the agreement with the county was going to be. That we have this ETJ everywhere, and we could agree to give that authority back to the county. At this point, I don't think the county wants it. I'll say it that way. None of the cities, I don't think, have been able to reach an agreement with Brazoria County with respect to the ETJ. So
The cost of doing a plat,
I don't,
or our permit fee for doing the plat process?
I don't know. I'm not actually sure of the answer to that. No, she's not here tonight.
Because my thing is that this is what I don't like, okay? Our state legislators made a mistake. And that's my opinion, but this was a bad mistake that our state legislators did. I also think that it's not good that they would ask us to vote on something to uphold something that they put in place that basically hinders us and our future growth and our future operation and the growth of our city. I'm not in favor of reducing our city limit line. I am definitely not in favor of reducing our ETJ because that basically is potentially our area. I'll use an example. It's not going to happen. We didn't get a phone call on it. We didn't get a letter or anything. But let's just say we had a really nice developer go out there and say, man, look at all that land out there. We might say, hey, we're not going to go out there for the next 100 years. But I guarantee you, Walt Disney World says, man, there's a lot of vacant land out there. I want to build a park out there. You think we ain't going to go out there and reach out and grab it? We're going to go reach out and grab it. We're going to go do something. There's the potential for that. So I'm never in favor of actually losing land or reducing land, but I have a serious problem being on council and voting to affirm something that the legislators that I feel made a mistake on. But then again, the other side of that is, I also feel for the customer is that way out there that would have to follow our subdivision requirements just to divide a piece of property. And if they could have done it by meets and bounds, save them some money and a lot of headache in this process, then we should accommodate them for that process. And we need to look at that procedure, and that probably needs to be addressed.
Could they not request a variance for that?
I don't,
With the landlord?
yeah.
Cause what's the big, do we know what the issue is? Like where our requirements and their wishes didn't meet up?
I just don't, for whatever reason, they just didn't want to have to plat it.
But they're trying to subdivide it?
Yes, so it's basically 2 acres out of a 26-acre tract that they purchased. And, yeah. So I don't really know, because that's where the discussion then, and when my understanding talking with Michelle was that is where the discussion ended, that it was, this is what we require. And then the next thing is that we got the release.
Last 2 things I have is, and real quick, is one, I don't want to set a precedence. And I think we're setting a precedence here. By doing this is going to be number 2. And then the second comment is the fact that I think we should have looked at some alternative solutions and stuff instead of actually going through this process. I really don't want to set a precedence, and if there's a lawsuit, then let that lawsuit follow through, and or the legislators reverse a whole bunch of other stuff that they set in place where we're put restrictions on us on annexations and our growth of our city. That's gonna hurt us in the long run on economic development.
So, sorry.
Go ahead.
No.
I'm done.
Are you? Okay, I know, I'm sorry, I have a tendency to interrupt, and I apologize. One of the things that is difficult about the way that this law is written is that the words are shall, and that if you don't, if you were to not approve it, it's released anyway by operation of law. Now, if that's the message that council wants to send, I'm not gonna say that's fine, that's the message that council wants to send. I think that, I'm not saying that I necessarily disagree with any of your points. So I don't know, unless and until it gets changed, whether we'd like it at this point or not, or unless, nope, not even gonna say, I don't even wanna put that piece into the universe.
We got it. We understand. We went through this process on the very first one. I understand. I
Yeah.
don't know about the other council members.
I heard what you said, and I can see where you're coming from, but I just have to say, I adamantly disagree with your logic of thinking. At some point, you have to allow property rights instead of wishes to take precedence and be a priority. We've heard of taxation without representation. This ETJ is it's regulation without representation. It's and for the most part of our ETJ, it's regulation without representation. None of these people can vote for us. None of these people can actually have a say in what happens in our city, but they are subject to city plating laws. And this lady's in Damon, Texas. Most of us, I would venture out to say, but definitely me, I couldn't even point this address out on a map. So
I went by there.
you went by, yeah. You're floating on the river.
Yesterday morning, yesterday.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think for the sake of wanting the city to have something and hinder someone's property rights and what they want to do on their own land, I don't think that's a good way of governance, in my opinion. I think that what I believe is that if she doesn't live in the city, she can't vote for us. If she wants to do this on her land, let her do it. It's her.
I agree 110%.
So then let's get
exactly what you
well, then give it
what
to
you
her.
said. But what I'm saying is there could have been an alternative method. We don't have to give up an ETJ. It doesn't hurt her. It doesn't benefit her. It's just an ETJ. The purpose of the ETJ was to protect certain areas from a very large city to the north of us from coming down and reaching and grabbing.
Yeah, in like the 60s.
Okay, and that was the
not even
1960s, and it was actually prior to that. And it actually went up north and actually grabbed a lot of cities up north and stuff. That's what the protection was. If we're not representing them, we're not, and if you heard what I was saying, was there should be an alternative way. We should not have to permit them. They shouldn't have to come to us. We should be able to say, okay, yeah, you want to subdivide that piece of property by meets and bounds and subdivide it out there, and we have no intention to actually go out there. We shouldn't be the burden or the hindrance on there, and they should follow some other method or some other criteria different than what we do for large, medium, and large developments within our city proper.
So what I'm willing to, I think that we have to, I think there might be a way to accomplish that. What I don't want to do is, if we do something, right, we don't want to set a variance so that anybody in the ETJ is going to go ahead and just not want to subdivide or do anything like that. So kind of like what Brazoria County was asking us a long time ago as far as like where are our areas? If I think that if we have some kind of guidelines that, here's we'll call it the main circle of ETJ, and anything outlying, either not subject to our plating or not subject to our, but I also don't know if that will meet the county muster. So that's what I don't know yet. I'm not opposed to trying to see what other.
Because if they subdivided the piece of property, we're gonna be released from the ETJ, then they gotta go to the county, and they're gonna have to do it anyway.
Yeah,
So why not let it go to the county?
yeah, without having to give it up necessarily. Yeah.
Gonna have to do it anyway.
Procedurally speaking, for purposes of the meeting today, is there a way we can table this one issue? That way we can get more input from Michelle as far as if there is a variance available, and see if we can do what Richard said and try to meet the landowner's wishes with what our requirement, or just kind of make an accommodation for them so we don't set a precedent like Martin was saying, to just kind of meet in the middle.
I think,
We have to, the first meeting after the 30th day.
or,
Right, that's why I was
Yeah.
asking procedurally if that can even be done. Because if it can, I think that would be helpful, but if not, if it's not,
I
it's just the law.
don't think that we would fall within the time.
The 45th day or the next meeting that occurs after the 30th day, whichever is later.
Right,
So we have 45 days from roughly July 17th.
right.
So we have to
Or-
the end of August roughly, and we don't have another meeting until
Right.
September.
Or 30 days following. So we got the petition on July 17th. Oh, we might be okay. Let me just, got the petition July 17th. The next meeting was August 1st. So, occurs after the 30th day. We're close. We're close.
Because
without it-
September 5th would be the next.
Yeah, I'd have to actually do the math thing.
Staff recommends approval on this. And the reason being,
I would say the reason being we have no,
Basic
plans
contract.
for that area
Yeah.
anyway, and then
Well,
the law.
I understand that, That's real close to W land.
Mm-mm.
It's kind of right there.
Your land, and Suzanne said no.
Oh, I didn't,
It's kind of there. And once W land
Thought you said no.
Yeah.
opens up, it's just gonna,
well, W
Ripple.
land is on this side of
I
288.
understand that. I
Okay.
understand that, but it's right there by 288, so it's gonna push outward, it's gonna overlap 288, keep going that way, keep going north, keep going south. I just don't wanna see a bunch of, look, our ETJ look like a checkerboard.
Sure.
I agree with Joel. I find ETJs like oddly bureaucratically oppressive. They're really weird to me, and especially how we're that far out and we're dictating what people can do and not giving them any benefit. And frankly, it puts a burden in our system for the city, for people working in those areas. We do platting and stuff like that, but we don't get taxes from them. We spend our time, but we don't get taxes. So and especially in this case for the amount of land and the location, because it remains contiguous, I think it's fine just to cut it off.
Mayor, move to approve ordinance 24V, releasing land from the extra ETJ of the city of Alvin, providing findings of fact containing a severability clause and providing for other matters related thereto.
Second.
Please vote.
Motion passes with Councilmember Garve and Vella voting no.
Thank you. Okay, next we're going to consider the appointment process of appointing members to the Comprehensive Plan Advisory Committee.
Okay, hi. Mayor and council members, I've been asked by the consulting team who is putting together the comprehensive master plan to request from each of you 3 recommended people to serve on the community committee for the comprehensive master plan. As I mentioned in the agenda briefing, these people should be community minded, should be able to attend at least 6 evening meetings that's going to be going over for the next couple of months regarding the comprehensive master plan. And then they have an understanding and a grasp of what our city's vision is going to be and would like to participate in that process. So with that, no action tonight, but within the next few days, if you would please email me directly with 3 recommended names from wherever on who you'd like to see serve on this committee for the comprehensive master plan. From that point, I will cross-check that and I'll contact your recommended people and make sure that they are available, understand that they will be needing to serve for the next couple of months, evening meetings and so forth, and then get those names vetted, send that out to the consulting team, and then we can move forward with the rest of the plan.
So, to affirm, you would like 3 recommendations from each council member.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Mhm.
By the next meeting, by next week?
By next week,
What day?
Thursday.
Okay. Everybody?
Projected dates for these evening meetings are certain days that you're planning on doing them just for scheduling purposes for the potential?
I'll double check that with the consulting team.
Okay.
They've put together a list of milestones that they want to hit with our project, but I don't believe they've put together specific dates yet. But I
Or-
can certainly double check with them on that.
You know, Wednesday nights or Thursday
Right.
or whatever
Mhm.
it may be.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll
I
double
think
check
that
that with
would be
them.
helpful.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So email us directly with that information.
Say that again.
Email us directly with that
Okay,
information.
gotcha. Mhm.
I'm just messing with you.
Very good. We'll get that done for you. Thank you.
Thank you
Mr.
so
Chavez.
much. Mhm.
Okay, next, consider if any requests from individual council members for an item or items to be placed on the upcoming agenda for the next regularly scheduled meeting. Councilman Garve,
No, sir.
Mela.
Nothing, Mayor.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Nothing.
All right, very good. Reports from city manager.
Yes, Mayor and Council, at the September 7th regular city council meeting, we tentatively have the following items on the agenda. We have the oath of office, swearing in Associate Judge Samantha Gonzalez. We have the public hearing and adoption of the ad valorem tax rate. Also, we have the ordinance adopting the fiscal year 25 budget and solid waste rates. We have an annexation ordinance for the 107-acre Beezer home development, the acceptance of the Livable Center study. We have a resolution for the creation of the Economic Development Advisory Committee. The resolution revising athletic facilities policy, and lastly, an ordinance amending the park land dedication fee. With that, it's that time again to register for the Citizens Academy, now through September 4th. Classes start September 9th. If you don't know, this is an 8-week course that will inform participants of the ins and outs of city operations. To participate, you need to be a resident or a business owner or an AISD senior or ACC student. For more information, you can contact the city secretary's office for registration purposes. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Items of community interest. Councilman Starkey.
I'll just repeat what John said earlier. September 7th is the Hispanic Heritage Festival, and that is always a very large event, and it's continually growing, so look forward to it. Put it on your calendar.
I have nothing.
No, sir.
I'd like to remind everybody that the Alvin Yellow Jacket football season starts. Their scrimmages tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. So come out and support them.
Yep. I want to personally thank the Alvin ISD Police Department. I had contacted them about a couple of citizens' concerns about traffic congestion at the schools. At the schools starting up, they did a really good job. They're keeping traffic flowing and moving, especially the railroad. I think they did a really good job of picking a great time to shut down 2nd Street for the second time in 3 years at the beginning of school. That really helped out our traffic problem. But the school district. Okay, yeah. But Al and IST, they have done it. They stepped up and they've done a really good job. Thank you, sir.
Nothing, Mayor.
Fantastic. Well, with that, anything from the public? That's okay. We're adjourned.